Good evening, once again, ladies and gentlemen. I offer my thanks to Dr. Lewison for his generous introduction and very insightful introduction to Saadi. His friendship has ever been an honor and delight for me, as well as insightful. I have learned much from Dr. Lewison during more than 15 years of friendship, paragon of good spiritual friendship I have experienced in this world. I wish to offer you a salutation now, not from myself, but the salutation of Shakespeare and the salutation of Saadi. Saadi believes that the best gift in the world is to offer someone a salutation or a salam, because salam is first of all the name of God. It is the name of paradise. It means peace and health and serenity, all of them in one word, salam. So he believes that من بعد از این اگر به دیاری سفر کنم, this is what he says in one of his poems, lyrics, هیچ ارمغانه‌ای نبرم جز سلام دوست. If I ever happen to travel again to a land, to a country, I will take with me no other gift than this salutation or salam of the beloved, of our mistress, of our Lord. And I wish to quote Saadi again, زهی سعادت من کم تو آمدی به سلام. I received Saadi's salutation and I say, it is a great honor and delight for me that you have come, you have brought me this salam. Actually, the complete works of Saadi is his salam to humanity. And his salam is the salam of the mistress, of his mistress, who is the Lord of creation. But now that we are in England, I wish to open this discourse with a piece of Shakespeare about this land, this royal throne of kings, this sceptered isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, this demi-paradise, this happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone put in the silver sea that serves it in the office of a wall or a moat defensive to a house against the envy of less happier people. This plot of majesty, this England. I'm happy that I am in England again, and I have had the honor to speak to a group of lovers of beauty and truth, and Shakespeare and Saadi, and to speak about two great poets who remind me of a poem by Rudyard Kipling, that east is east and west is west, and the twain shall never meet. But he goes on to say that they meet actually in a great artist, in a great musician, in a great poet. So Saadi and Shakespeare, though they have many centuries of time separate them, thousands of kilometers separate their birthplace, but if we don't say that they are in the same land, at least they are near neighbors in the realm of literature, in the realm of gold. As Dr. Lewison mentioned, many great poets have praised Saadi, and many great poets have praised Shakespeare. And I've said much about Shakespeare. Shakespeare is the minstrel or the bard, or you could say the prophet of England. As Saadi is a prophet, has been called a prophet by many poets, including Malakushara Bahar, one of the recent great poets of Persia, that he says, Oust Peygambaru in name be Furqan manat. Saadi is truly a prophet, and his works is like the Quran. And anyone who denies Saadi is no more than the devil. So, about Shakespeare, if you collect things in praise of Shakespeare, it runs into many volumes of books. But I refer to some of great poets, for example, Milton, who was so infatuated by Shakespeare. He says that, oh, what needs my dear Shakespeare for his holy bones, for his holy dust, to build a pyramid as high as the sky. He doesn't need that, because he has himself, he is the best architect, and he has created a mausoleum for himself that king would wish to die for that mausoleum. And Matthew Arnold says, others abide our question, thou art free. And then he goes on to say what Shakespeare has done, what he has seen in this world. In fact, Saadi and Shakespeare, they are the true kings of Persia and of England. Because other kings, just Shakespeare says, let's sit down for the sake of God for a moment on the earth and think about the end, the death of the kings. They all died away. While Shakespeare was not a king who had conquered a territory, conquered a country, but he had created a country. Shakespeare is himself the king of his own country, and he has added to the countries of the world. He has enriched us. One of the great French writers says that Shakespeare is a continent, is a great, great land, and he has created so many crowds of great people. And so Saadi says, Jahan be tigh fasahat girefti Saadi. Oh Saadi, you have conquered the whole world by the sword of your eloquence. So in Persian literature, actually, when they speak of kings, of princes, it means great artists and great poets, particularly. So, tonight, we have two minstrels to bring us delight and happiness, to sing for us, two great singers, because Saadi is a singer, and Shakespeare has created so many songs at the side of his most beautiful plays. And we have two for our wine, for our intoxication. Also, we have two cupbearers because they both have a tavern, the tavern of Shakespeare and the tavern of Saadi. And they give you such intoxication of the wine of beauty and truth that its intoxication never leaves you. And Saadi actually says a person who drinks this wine will be sober not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, but not in the morning of the day of judgment, but in the evening of the day of judgment when everything has been settled down. So he will go all through this intoxicated and unaware of all the troubles of the world, of this world and the next world. So this is a symposium. I wish to call our gathering a symposium in the true sense of the word, meaning sitting together and drinking wine. Of course, both Saadi and Shakespeare have bewared us of drinking the wine of grapes. Saadi says, آنچه عقلت میبرد شر است و آب. What deprives you of reason is called sharab. Sharab is in Persian. Of course, it's an Arabic word. We call it bade in Persian. There are many other names as well. Bade, sahba, sharab. But Saadi, playing with the word shar and ab, he says shar means evil, and ab is water, liquor. So he says what deprives you from your reason is this rebellious water. This is rebellious liquor, as Shakespeare says. Actually, a servant is calling to his lord in one of his plays that, "Oh, my lord, don't deprive me of your service, although I am old, because when I was young, I have not used that rebellious liquors too much." And he says that, "Oh, for men, that it is very strange that people would send a thief from their mouth into their house in order to rob them of their reason, the jewel of their reason. And it is more strange, it is a stranger that people with revelry and pleasance and joy celebrate their coming from humanity to the world of animals. Because when they lose their reason, they are in the realm of the beasts." This is what Shakespeare says. So they offer higher and more qualified and better wines in their own taverns, which one cannot find in the taverns at the side of the river Rhine. There is so much to be said about similarities between Shakespeare and Saadi. I can only give you just a list of some of them, and it needs, as in Persian we say, it needs a night with full moon to sit together with nothing to do so that we could discuss about this. But first of all, Saadi and Shakespeare are both most popular poets in their country. And they have enriched their languages, their respective languages, with so many of memorable phrases and quotes that if they print a book, the whole works of Shakespeare, and put the name quotations from Shakespeare, it's all right. Because all the works are quotations. And in Persian also, if you make an edition of Saadi's works, complete works, with the name Quotations by Saadi, it's all right, because whatever he has said is a quotation. And it is very important that in both languages, which are not monumental language, some languages are monumental, like Arabic, for example, like Latin. You can easily make phrases and sentences that are memorable and attractive in their structure. They are like a monument. But it is very difficult to make a monument in English or in Persian. So Saadi has created so many beautiful monuments out of the language, out of the compositions, musical compositions he has created. And Shakespeare has also created such vigorous prose and poetry and such vigorous and beautiful combination of words that even the calamities of life can give you joy and delight. He speaks about the calamities of life in to be or not to be. That's the question. He goes on and on to say, who would bear the scorns, the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes. So these are the calamities. So beautiful. It's a piece of music to listen to these calamities of the world. So that is what Saadi also has done, because they believe that if you are in the realm of beauty, then everything is beautiful. Then even death is beautiful. Shakespeare said death is just a pinch of the beloved. It's a little bit painful, but you enjoy it because you understand that she has chosen you to pinch you. There is a story of talking about going back to the popularity of Saadi and Shakespeare and popular quotations. There is an anecdote about two American ladies who happened to come to London to attend one of the works of Shakespeare. So they happened to see one of the plays, and when they were interviewed by some journalists about Shakespeare, how they found Shakespeare after all, they said, well, after all, Shakespeare is not such a great man. He has just put together some popular quotations and turned them into plays. So that is true also with Saadi. Every moment you find Saadi in the newspaper, in the works of poetry, in the essays, in the articles, everywhere Saadi is present. And his words and combinations are even chosen as a title of the book. Just as Shakespeare, when he says life, he is talking about life. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So Sound and Fury is the name of a novel. Brave New World is Shakespeare. And there are so many of these names borrowed from Shakespeare to give, to ornate their works. So I really don't know from where I can start. It's better to start from what sorry, I had Yes. One of the things most emphasized by Shakespeare and by Saadi in the realm of morality is the law of compensation. That this world, the world of morality, just like the world, the material world, has certain laws, certain sure laws. And if you do A, B would follow, and you have to wait for B if you do A. And if you plant dates or thorns, you have to wait for the fruit of what you have planted. خرما نتوان خورد. You cannot get dates, sweet dates, از این خار که کشتیم, from the thorn you have planted. So Shakespeare, in his famous work Macbeth, he has put some words in the mouth of the weird sisters, the wizards, the three witches. They, as they are going to tempt, before they start tempting Macbeth, they are singing for themselves. And this is the refrain of their song, that fair is foul, foul is fair. Hover in the filthy air. So what does that mean? This is the most devilish saying which Shakespeare has put in the mouth of the three weird sisters. Any criminal, this is the theology, I mean, the ideology of anyone who wants to do something wrong. That there is no difference between fair and foul. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. And Shakespeare, in all his plays, is actually trying to prove that it is not right. They are lying, or the devils. Fair is fair, and foul is foul. And if even you want to do something wrong, you have to convince your divine nature somehow to deceive it, somehow to stop it from intervention. Lady Macbeth, when he wants to encourage his husband for the crime, he has come to the spirits, to the evil spirits. Come, you evil spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, because this sex is the sex of kindness, of gentleness. A woman is full of mercy, so they have to unsex her in order she could do that. Unsex me here and fill me from crown to toes, top full from direst cruelty. Stop up the access to repentance, that no compunctious visiting of nature would ever come to shake my fell purpose. He knows that a dark cloud has come to cover the sky, so that when he is just bringing down the dagger, no one would cry, hold, hold. So even the criminal himself, down deep in his own conscience, is aware that he is doing the wrong. So Shakespeare and Saadi are both universal mirrors of human nature. If we ever lose our nature, our divine nature, we can come to Saadi or come to Shakespeare, just as we can go to Homer or to Dante, because they are acquainted, well acquainted with the human nature. They have all the variations of human nature, and they are actually redressing every moment in their words if there is any deviation from divine nature. He wants to justify the works of God, that if he has commanded certain commandments, he is right, because if A, then B. I am reminded of another poem by Shakespeare, which is very short, but it is as good as the 2-volume book of Decline of the West by Spengler, the German scholar, because he has a theory that the West is passing through the realm of culture to the realm of civilization, and then he is going to decline and to die. And Shakespeare says, take but degree away. Degree is the human nature, is all the harmonies of the world, the nobility, the magnanimity, the dignity, put them away, and hark, what discord would follow. Humanity is out of tune now. Untune that string. Untune that string of humanity, and then hark, what harsh sounds you will hear. Then everything meets the other thing in opposition, because there is no harmony, no unity. Everything is single. So he is just opposite you. And everything includes itself in power. And power is turned into will, and will into appetite, into greed that is devouring the world now. And appetite is a universal wolf, so doubly seconded by will and power. Will must perforce make a prey of the whole world, and then he eats up himself. So this is the end of the world if the degree, if the harmony is untuned. So we can say that great poets, great minstrels, they are called because they know the instrument of human body, of the human nature. If it is out of tune, then they tune it up. Shakespeare can tune us up. If you are in the company of Shakespeare, in the company of Saadi, in the company of Eliot, in the company of all great poets, Milton, Blake, then you can come back to your normal tune. And then we can speak a few words about the soul and body in the works of Saadi and Shakespeare. They both believe that soul and body are two things, and one is a prisoner in the other. The soul is our main and most important part, the perpetual one, the immortal one. And this, as Shakespeare says, this muddy vesture of decay, or as in To Be or Not to Be, he says, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil is our body. And Shakespeare, in one of his sonnets, is complaining why people give so much credit to their body, keep it fat and good, while their soul is meager and worn and is dying. And he says, you know that the end of this body is going to be eaten by worms under the ground. So how is it that you spend all your intelligence, all your power, all your time on this body, which is going to leave you and which is going to be the food of worms, while your spirit is dying out of hunger, is starving? Saadi says, همی میردت عیسی از لاغری. Thy Jesus. Saadi compares our soul with Jesus, and the donkey is our body. So he has many references to donkey that most people, instead of riding the donkey, let the donkey ride them. Because most of them are doing, whatever they are doing is doing for the donkey. So he says, همین میردت عیسی از لاغری. Your Jesus is starving. تو در بند آنی که خر پروری. And you are nourishing, giving a full nourishment to the donkey. So Shakespeare also recommends that we have to give more and more credit to our soul, who is our true self and is going to continue to live. The yearning of immortality is a good, as Plato says, and Shakespeare confirms and reconfirms that the yearning for immortality, which is in our heart, is a good reason to prove that our soul is going to continue to live and we are immortal. Otherwise, how it happened that this wish came to our heart? Then we come to the question of love, which is most important. It is at the heart of Saadi's works and at the heart of Shakespeare's works. Shakespeare actually says, if this be wrong and upon me proved, I would never writ, nor any man ever loved, because everything is done for the sake of love in this world. Of course, in his famous sonnet, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediment. Love is not love that alters when alteration finds. Because the love most people have, is what changes when it changes, accepts certain changes. As I think it's Robert Herrick says that, oh, my beloved, I have been loving you for 3 whole days. And I'm going to love you for another 3 days if the weather is good, if there is no change. So, for most people, love changes because it is not love, it is lust. Shakespeare has made a very beautiful contrast between lust and love. That love is like a gentle spring. It is the spring of our life. It is beautiful, it is full of life. While the winter of lust comes even before the summer ends, comes too soon. And many other contrastive remarks he has made about lust and love. So love is what doesn't change, and it grows and grows. It becomes bigger and bigger. It doesn't lose its warmness, its glory, as it begins. But other thing, this question of mutability, which is both in Saadi and Shakespeare, I will speak about it later, Shakespeare constantly speaks about we rot and rot, from hour to hour we bloom and bloom. It's about a fool who was wearing motley in As You Like It. Somebody is passing and he finds one of the fools lying on in the sun. He says, "Oh, good morning, fool." He said, "Don't call me fool, because I have some wisdom to teach you." And then he takes out a sundial out of his pocket and puts it in the sun and says, "Well, it is now 10 o'clock. And 1 hour before was 9 o'clock. Another hour would be 11 o'clock. And thus from hour to hour we bloom and bloom. And from hour to hour we rot and rot. And there hangs the tale. This is the tale of our life." So love is not something that rots and rots, but it blooms and blooms all the time. Saadi is actually the great master of lyric poetry before Hafiz. Hafiz actually has made some improvement upon Saadi, but most scholars believe that you cannot categorically say that Hafiz is greater in lyricism than Saadi, because they are, each has its own proper place in our heart, has its two different fruits, like apple and fig, for example, or grapes. But Saadi speaks of love, the love of beauty, the love of truth, and the love of good, which is the love of God. That is what unifies the whole world. And he says that به جهان خرم از آنم که جهان خرم از اوست، عاشقم بر همه عالم که همه عالم از اوست. I am in this world, I am delighted by the one who is the owner of the world. And I love everyone in the world because they all belong to him. So his famous poem, بنی آدم اعضای یک پیکرند که در آفرینش یک گوهرند, it comes from this universal love, that بنی آدم, the sons of Adam, are all like the limbs of one body. If one limb is put to pain, other limbs are restless. So a person who is careless about the pains and sorrows of others, he cannot be properly called a human being. And Shakespeare said, if our only market, our only good in this world is eating and sleeping, so we can claim no more than being a beast, because they do the same. And the great creator who has created us all, he has not given us this jewel of reason. جهل و ظلمت, it's all darkness and it's all ignorance. حیوان خبر ندارد ز مقام آدمیت. An animal cannot understand the lofty state of human being. Actually, Shakespeare says, what a piece of work is man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in action how like an angel, in thought how like a god. He is the glory of the world and the beauty of the world, of the universe. So, about love, this universal love, which is divine and spiritual. But when we say it is divine love, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come down to our world. The same divine love is applied to our relationship with the beloved on the earth. But it is divine. If you make love with your beloved on the earth, and your love is divine love, then you see your beloved, your great beloved, she is the representative of God. Actually, both in the works of Saadi and in the works of Shakespeare, you find this notion and that women are moon. You know that Indians believe that women have been made out of moon. And in Persian literature and in the works of Shakespeare, women have been compared to moon because moon represents the sun in the absence of the sun. When the sun is absent, who can give the light of sun to us? It's moon. So they believe that woman is the presence of God in this world, and God is a distant lover. So he has represented himself in a woman and in a man. So we make love as a vicegerent or as in delegation of God. Let me recite a piece of poem by Shakespeare and one piece by Saadi about love, about this divine and at the same time secular and worldly love. O mistress mine, where are you roaming? Oh, stay and hear, your true love is coming, that can sing both high and low. Trip no further, pretty sweeting. Journeys end in lovers' meeting. Saadi says you have to be a traveler and a traveler and a traveler until you come to your beloved. Then you can wait. You can stop. Before that, you shouldn't stop in any place because you have not reached your beloved yet. So journeys end. Even the journey of a Sufi is the traveler towards his beloved. So Saadi says that if you stop in a station, in any station, then you will lose your beloved. You have to go on until you چو به مأمنی رسیدی دیگرت سفر نباشد. When you come to your beloved, then you no more journeys. Journeys end in lovers' meeting. What is love? It is not hereafter. Present mirth has present laughter. What is to come is still unsure. In delay there lies no plenty. Then come, kiss me, sweet and 20. Love is a stuff, life is a stuff will not endure. And Saadi says that the whole world is filled with the vibration of love. Jahan por sama ast o masti o shur. We can come now to music in Shakespeare and Saadi, that they both believe that music is the food of lovers, the food of traders. Shakespeare says traders in love. Music is the food of the traders in love. And Maulana Rumi says the same thing, that غذای عاشقان آمد سما. And Shakespeare has actually said something about music which is unique. I have not read it from anyone else. I'm reminded of Goethe, who says Shakespeare has not left anything for us to say. So he has said everything. One is that a person, the man who has no music in himself, nor is he not moved by the sweet concord of sounds, is fit for treason, stratagem, and spoil. The motions of his spirit are dull as night, and his affections are as dark as Erebus. Let no such man be trusted. It's very important that you cannot trust a person who doesn't believe in music, who doesn't associate with music, who doesn't listen to music. Because a person who doesn't love music, it means that he doesn't love harmony. So he must love some disharmony. So disharmony is crime, and when it comes to your body, it is illness. When it comes to the society, it is crime. When it comes to economics, it is injustice. Everywhere, when disharmony comes, something is wrong. So, Saadi says that شتر را چو شور و طرب در سر است, even all animals respond to music. If now that we see that even a camel responds to the songs, there are in Arabic poetry, there are certain songs which are particularly sung for to incite and to stimulate camels to run faster. And they call it Hodi, the song of Hodi. So Saadi has also a story that once we were traveling in a caravan, in a group, and there was an ascetic among us, a fanatic, who was all the time complaining about the ways people are behaving and what they say and what is this is wrong and this is illegal. And then he was against music. And somebody was singing in the caravan, and he was blaming him, why you are singing. And then somewhere the camel of the ascetic just came to such delight and joy that just ran away and threw this ascetic down on the ground and went away. And Saadi says, I said to the ascetic, look, even the camel is responding, and you are careless still. So in one poem he says, شتر را چو شور و طرب در سر است, اگر آدمی را نباشد خر است. Now that even the camel can respond to good music, if a human being doesn't respond, he is no more than a donkey. And Saadi also has another recommendation about this music, that if you see that a donkey is braying, keep your voice and don't waste it. کاش بلبل خموش بنشستی تا خر آواز خود تمام کند. You can keep silent until the donkey would finish its braying. So there are not all the sounds of the world are sweet to our ears. So when you hear to some harsh sounds, don't mix the harsh sound with the sweet sounds. This is what he wants to say. Now, something about nature. Saadi is a lover of nature. Nature is the teacher for Saadi. And he believes that all nature is actually reciting the name of God. And Shakespeare is a follower and imitator of nature, not the outside nature, but also his own nature. Aristotle has said that a great artist is a person who imitates nature. And some intellectuals blame Aristotle why he has said that. We shouldn't follow nature. We shouldn't imitate, because imitation is suicide. Why should we imitate nature? They don't know that nature doesn't mean the nature outside only. It means our own nature, our own heart. Shakespeare looked into his own heart and wrote plays. One of the sure signs of genius is that the great man looks into his own heart and comes to believe that whatever he finds good is good for all humanity. This is a sign of genius. Mozart, for example, was sure that the music he was creating is to be loved by everybody in the world because he knew human nature. So Shakespeare brought much of his his similes and imagery of Shakespeare, which is unique in world literature, comes directly out of his own heart and his own nature. But at the same time, he had a sharp eyes for nature, and he looked very deep and penetrating into the mysteries of nature. About the uses of adversity, he says, how sweet are the uses of adversity. Then he wants to give an image. The uses of adversity, that ugly and venomous like a toad still wears 2 jewels on its head. So it has 2 jewels. And then he goes on to say, and if we are exempt from the haunts of the world, we are exempt from this haunting and coming and going and troubles and cares of the world, then we can find we can find tongues in the trees, in the leaves of trees. Every leaf would be a tongue. And books in the running brooks, and sermon in stones, and sermons in stones, and good in everything. So this is actually, it indicates that Shakespeare was also a great mystic. Only a mystic can see everything is right, everything is okay when compared to God. When we say that something is wrong and something is right, in our relationships, it's all right. But when it comes to the universe, for Shakespeare, everything is all right. Shakespeare has created Desdemona as good as Iago, because Iago is created by Shakespeare, and he has used his time and his skill and his eloquence for both of them. So he says that you can find good in everything. And even in the wrong things of the world, he says that they are our teachers. Even the criminals, the impolite people, the insolence of office, they are all our teachers. In one of his plays, he says, these our neighbors do us a great service. And a friend says, well, what service do they give us? Well, they give us the list of all the things we shouldn't do. So this is what our neighbors are doing. So this is what Saadi says, لقمان را گفتن ادب از که آموختی گفت از بی ادبان. They asked Luqman, who was a great wise man, a sage, that how did you learn this politeness and etiquette and courtesy? How did you get it? He said, I got it from discourteous people. So whatever I found disliking, I found unpleasing, then I rejected it. So you can make use of everything. Even the devil can teach you something. Then I'm gradually coming to close, but we will go to the states of life and mutability of life. Shakespeare worked in the theater. She knew very well from close hand that these kings are nobody. Because who was King Richard? A poor man who was coming with a chariot in the morning, and he had 50 pounds of salary per month to work for the Globe, for the theater. So he knew that they are nobody. They just wear some crown, and then they are given some authority, a brief authority, to cut the head of this and to put anger against that, and then it is time to go. So Shakespeare was very aware of this and has written very beautiful pieces of the inconstancy of this world and the nearness of death to all people. And he has mocked all pride and greed and avarice and all the vices of the world. For Shakespeare is a source of laughter, because actually vices are incongruous with the lofty state of humanity. So incongruity creates laughter. When you say that two things are incongruous, they are in quite opposite each other, then you laugh. This is one of the reasons, because we laugh with our reason. And reason distinguishes between whether it is congruous or incongruous. So when it is incongruous and it's not very important, then you burst into laughter. So Shakespeare has, in just one paragraph, has given a sketch of human life on the earth. That all the world's a stage, and all men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his life has many parts to play, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And then a whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping unwillingly to school. And then a lover, sighing like a furnace and singing a ballad to his mistress's eyebrow. And then a soldier, full of a strange oath, bearded like a pard, jealous in honor, quick and sudden in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then a justice, the judge, the justice, with fair round belly, with good capon lined. Capon is referring to the bribes. They brought some cocks for the judges to interfere with the judgment. So with capon, with good, his belly, round belly, was lined with good capons. Saadi says همه کس را دندان به ترشی کند گردد مگر قاضی را که به شیرینی. Everybody's tooth becomes dull when he eats something sour. But the judge, when he eats something sweet, then his sharp tooth becomes dull. So then the justice, with fair round belly, with and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. And then in the last scene of all that ends this eventful, strange story is mere oblivion and son's teeth, son's eyes, son's taste, son's everything. Somebody comes and from the other side of the stage goes out. So such beautiful sketches, minimalist. If some artists today, they believe that we have to use minimal possible lines in a painting and minimal possible words in poetry. So who is more minimalist than Shakespeare, that such beautiful sketches and to the point, each of them. But Saadi starts a little bit earlier. ای که وقتی نطفه بودی در شکم. In one of his قصائد, one of his odes, longer than sonnets, longer than lyrics. بس بگردید و بگردد روزگار، دل به دنیا در نبندد هوشیار. A wise man will not set his heart to the world because it is constantly revolving and moving. ای که وقتی نطفه بودی در شکم. You remember that once you were in the womb of your mother. وقت دیگر طفل بودی شیر. And then you became seeking your mother's breast for milk. همچنین بالا گرفتی تا بلوغ. And then you bloomed and bloomed until you became a as Shakespeare says, a shining morning face, a child. همچنین بالا گرفتی تا بلوغ، سرو بالایی شدی سیمین عذار. And you became like a cypress tree and with face like silver. همچنین تا مرد نامآور شدی. And then you grow up again and you became a soldier. مرد نامآور شدی، فارس میدان و روز کارزار. And you became a fighter in the midst of the circle of in the battlefield. همچنین تا مرد نامآور شدی، فارس میدان و روز کارزار. آنچه دیدی برقرار خود نماند. Whatever you have so far seen did not abide by you. So make sure that this state that you are now will not abide. دیر و زود این شکل و شخص نازنین in a very short time, in a very brief time, Shakespeare says, out, out, brief candle, this life is so brief. In a very brief time, this beautiful and so dear body of yours will go under the earth. خاک خواهد will turn into dust, and the dust will go to the wind. I wish to end by a few words about the music in the works of Shakespeare and in the works of Saadi. Not their ideas about music, but the music in the very body of their poetry. Shakespeare is a great singer. In fact, a great musician of words. And he has used, music is, the basic ideas in music is rhythm, harmony, and melody, as well as contrast, contrepoint. So the melody is idea, the ideas that comes to the mind of the poet. The harmony is the imagery. He takes a look at the idea and sees that it is like a moon, it is like a bird, it is like the sky, it is like an angel. Shakespeare says every angel, every star is an angel singing in his revolution in the sky. So this imagery is harmony in poetry. And the rhythm is present in the very body of poetry. In rhyme, we have rhyme and rhythm. Rhyme is one sort of harmony between sounds. At the end, you say, for example, that time of year, this is by Shakespeare, that time of years thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves or none or few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. You see, this old and cold, this is rhyme. This is a similarity in sounds. About rhyme, Shakespeare is more various than Saadi, because rhyme in Persian literature is limited. Rhyming is either rhyming couplets, means there are between two lines, they are rhymed together. So there is only one rhyme repeated at the end of each line. The whole work of Bustan, the garden of perfume of Saadi, is only rhyming couplets. And his sonnets, lyrics, usually has only one rhyme all through the sonnet, because it starts by one rhyme and then it is continued in the second line, and then at the end of all lines you find the same rhyme. I can recite one example. دانی چه گفت مرا آن بلبل سحری گر عشق نیست تو را کج‌طبع جانوری. You see, سحری جانوری. اشتر به شعر عرب در حالت است و طرب، تو خود چه آدمی که از عشق بی خبری. و سحری بیخبری از بس که در نظرم خوب آمدی صنما در هر که می نگرم گویی که در نظری. So this sound re and ye, re is repeated. But the sonnets of in all sonnets of Saadi, there's only one rhyme. But in sonnets of Shakespeare, is divided, it's called Shakespearean sonnets. It's divided in 3 parts. Each part is 4 lines rhyming A, B, A, B. The one is A, and then the second one is B. Again, A is repeated, and B is repeated. And then C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and then G, G. The 2 lines, there are 14 lines altogether. There are 3 stanzas of this scheme, rhyming scheme, and then the 2 lines, the last line is rhyming couplet. But about the rhythm, Saadi is more variant than Shakespeare, because all the poems of Shakespeare, or not all, but most of them, almost 90%, more than 90% of them are iambic pentameter. His blank verse, his other, the Passionate Pilgrim, and his sonnets, they are all have their same rhythm of iambic, which are 10 syllables in each line, 1 unstressed, 1 stressed, 1 unstressed, 1 stressed. It is like this: 1 quiet and 1 stronger. That time of year thou mayst me behold. Of course, you shouldn't recite it like that, but I'm just emphasizing to show that it's like a rhythm. But this is all. Most of the rhythm is this. Of course, Shakespeare uses certain variety even in this iambic pentameter, and they say Shakespeare is most unpredictable about his rhythm, because all of a sudden he changes in the middle of the poem to create an effect, because rhythm can create an effect. Rhythm has something to do with our state of mind. Rhythm, Saadi, when he is happy, very happy, he uses certain rhythms. When he is more moderate and he is speaking about, he is giving sermons to people, he uses some other rhythms. I will just explain that about Saadi. In Persian poetry, rhythm is not something of quality like English. In English, it's the quality. It is a strong or quiet. Sometimes it is like this. This is another rhythm of English poetry, which is scarcely used by Shakespeare. Mostly this. But in Saadi, it is a question of quantity rather than quality. So it is, again, using the syllables, the consonants, and vowel sounds like this. It is either 1 beat or 2 beats or 3 beats together. And then he composes these 3 bases to create a variety of poems. 1 is like man. 2 is like manam. And 3 is like beravam. 3. So sometimes they use 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. ای ساربان آهستران کارام جانم می رود. Oh, leader of the caravan, just don't make haste, because you are taking away my heart. Where are you going? ای ساربان آهستران کارام جانم می رود. آن دل که با خود داشتم با دل ستانم می رود. And sometimes it is the other way around. You have 2, 1, 1. نمیدانم چه میخواهی. Or there are many sonnets of this rhyme. اگر روزی رسد دستم که با دلدار بنشینم. And this poem I recited just now about the donkey and the camel, it has this very beautiful rhyme. It is 1, 1, 2, 3. دانی چه گفت مرا آن بلبل سحری، گر عشق و نیست تو را کج طبع جانوری. اشتر به شعر عرب در حالت است و طرب. دام دام دادام دادادام دام دام دادام دادادام. You can dance with it. So there is more than 30 different rhythms used by Saadi, while Shakespeare has confined himself to just a few rhythms, and the variety is limited. Of course, Shakespeare has compensated because he knows that repetition is no good. There is a story in Persian anecdotes that once Mullah Nasruddin, a great comic figure, he was playing his tar, and he had put his finger on one of the strings, and then he was playing all the time the same note. And they said, well, how is it that you are playing the same note all the time? You have to go up and down. And he said, well, those who go up and down, they have not found it. I have found it. This is here. So some people in the world find a note and they play it and play it and boring everybody. Shakespeare never bores. Actually, in one of his sonnets, he says he is calling his beloved, that, oh, my beloved, I wonder how is it that I cannot change the theme and to create some innovation, to bring some innovation, something new in my poetry. He is complaining about repetition of his poetry. But he says that the repetition has reason behind it, because I have no more than 2 words to say that I love you. What can I do? This is all I want to say. So there is no way but to change the dress every time and repeat it in a new form. But he goes on to say it is like the sun coming out, because love is the sun. You are never bored by the repetition of the sun. It's like, because I love you, I love you, I love you. You are never bored with it. So he says, my repetition is like the sun. Every day is new and old. Thank you.